So there's been a lot of change in the retail industry and looking at specifically in-store media over the last really 12 months. And it's been a couple of factors. One, the cost of technology has come down. So the cost of implementation isn't as big as it used to be. The capex isn't as scary. Secondly, at least in North America, a lot of retailers have exhausted kind of their inventory for on-site and search and product ads, and also the off-site opportunity is maybe not as high margin as they were initially anticipating. So the factor of lower or higher margins in store because it's an owned property, coupled with the cost of installation coming down, is a huge opportunity for the retail. So those kind of two main factors has really driven a lot of adoption.
Ben, we're all attached to our screens everywhere, and certainly the store is no different. From screen to shelf is where retailers are seeing their customers. So with that in mind, wanted to know how can retailers avoid creating more noise? We're constantly bombarded everywhere, and now it's come to the shelf level as well. So how can retailers deliver on those moments that actually influence the purchase?
It's a great question because you don't want to think of the store as like Times Square, where I've got crazy amount of messages coming at me and it's hard to decipher what's relevant and what's not. I think the important thing for retailers is, especially with digital screens where I've got full motion video, I can really make an impact that's contextually relevant. With the data, behavioral data that you can get within the store, you can understand where people came from and where they go next, how long they're spending in each of these departments. And so when you place a digital screen or an in-store retail media network in store, it's really important to understand contextually where are they in their shopping journey. And then finally, I say just simple things like the weather outside, or what time of day or day of week it is. My shopping trip at 5 p.m. in the afternoon might look a lot different than a shopping trip on Saturday morning when I'm replenishing the stock. So all those things can factor into making it more contextually relevant and product relevant based on where I'm in the store, and that I think creates a more frictionless journey, if you will.
Ben, to pick up on that point that you can access behavioral, location, and contextual data, how can retail media being all about measurability? How can retailers decide what signals or data finally make in-store performance more tangible for brands?
Yeah, I think this is what's one of the other things that's really changed over the last, say, 12, 24 months is the ability to capture those signals in a privacy-friendly way and be able to have them be incredibly accurate, yet very actionable in the same way. So one of the things that the IAB has done in North America is, and also in Europe, is said, we need to better define what an impression is in store. And so really looking at, are they in an opportunity to view and whatnot. And so the signals, whether it's from my cell phone, privacy friendly, or maybe it's anonymous and it's just a device bouncing off my body and capturing that I'm in that area and I'm dwelling for this amount of time. And being able to tie that back to the ad units running on the screen is really powerful, and being able to measure it like you do all your other digital properties.
Personalization has become ubiquitous across every kind of ad and media channel. What does personalization and does personalized mean something different when it comes to the physical store? And again, that also brings the question of the privacy issue. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, another great question, because certainly in North America, but retailers are used to being able to personalize one-on-one. They know who I am, where I come from, what I click on, and what I go next, and they probably have a good idea. In the store, it's more synonymous, and by that I mean you might have a cohort of people that behave a certain way. If I've got a screen in the produce section, and maybe that's at the entrance, I'm capturing most of the people coming in the store. But if I've got a screen in the deli or maybe the health and beauty, that's a totally different shopping experience. And I can start to curate the content based on that kind of audience or cohort of audience. And that still can be personalized. And, but it's not going to say, hey, Ben, welcome back again. It just might be based on how I'm behaving and then maybe my past shopping trips or something like that. But again, it's at the cohort or audience level, not necessarily a one-to-one.
Ben, still early in the year, so the idea of looking out ahead is still pretty relevant where a lot of minds are. So for you, what are the trends, innovations that you're keeping an eye on right now?
So I think there's a lot of noise in terms of what's possible. I think retailers and really are trying to navigate through that process. I think this year is going to be a huge year of adoption for in-store retail media and certainly measurement. One of the things I'm excited about is being able to deliver measurement that fits in with all the other digital measurement tactics that agency and brands use today. So how do we fit into that ecosystem so that we're not creating something new, but we're making that omni-channel, the in-store part of the omni-channel, look like all the others, and also make it actionable in terms of, did it perform? Maybe can we do A/B testing? There's a lot of things we can do there that's exciting for this year.